Came back with video 4 on Kouri Richins. In the previous video, I did a timeline, so it was important dates and timelines leading up to the major stuff, right before we get to the death of Eric. So it's all of that preceding stuff, and it's mostly the financial crimes that Kouri was committing at those times, okay? So it's important to go back and watch that video so you kind of know what all was happening along the way. And then I also talked to you about when Eric kind of secretly took her name off of everything and she had no idea. That's in the last video. In this video, we're gonna talk about like the time really much more closer to Eric's death. So this is all 2022. We start on January 22nd of 2022. Our text messages of Kouri reaching out to a man named Hayden Jeffs. He was the handyman at the time. And then Carmen Lauber, who was her housekeeper. So she asked both of these people to try to get her pain medications. She said that she was trying to get them for a client who had a bad back, like was in chronic back pain. Now, I will admit, maybe that's possible. But to this point, I have not seen a name or a person or anybody testify to say, yep, I'm the person who was suffering such back pain. I thought it was reasonable to go to my mortgage broker and ask her to find me pills. That seems weird, but whatever. She has a couple of conversations with Hayden Jeffs, and he's basically like refusing her. There's Hayden Jeffs, by the way, is no longer with us. He's passed. His girlfriend at the time testified last week that she overheard a conversation where Kouri asked him for like the Michael Jackson drugs. So she was looking for something pretty substantial, according to this witness. Housekeeper Carmen Lauber makes a phone call. She calls her friend Nicole Cummins, and Nicole says, I think I know a guy, and puts Carmen in touch with Robert Crozier. Robert Crozier is the alleged drug dealer. Now, Robert took the stand last week, and he testifies that he thought he was selling them Oxycontin because he mostly dealt in Oxycontin, and that's what most of the people were asking for. So he thinks the pills he gave them were probably Oxycontin. Carmen testified that she believed he knew he sold her fentanyl. That he gave her fentanyl, he charged her for fentanyl, and that's what she turned around and gave to Kouri. So we have a little bit of confusion here. On February 11th, Carmen, allegedly, even though it's all in text messages, provided 15 to 30 pills to Kouri, and she collected $900 in cash from Kouri. On February 14th, Kouri is accused of making a sandwich and crushing up the pills and putting them in the sandwich. It was Valentine's Day, so of course she wraps it up and she leaves it with a note, honey, I love you so much. Here's a sandwich. Eric takes the sandwich. Eric bites into the sandwich and he immediately starts to feel icky, like he knows something's wrong. He doesn't feel well. He thinks he's allergic to something. He's not sure what to do. But he drinks Benadryl. He drinks a bunch of Benadryl. He even uses his son's EpiPen because he thinks he's having a severe allergic attack. By the way, during this period, he texts Kouri, who happens to be with her affair partner at the time. So it's Valentine's Day, and she's spending it with her boyfriend instead of her husband. But she's spending it with her boyfriend, and he's texting her, and he's like, I really don't feel well. I really don't feel well. And she's like, go take a nap. It'll be fine, and I'll be home soon. And if it really gets bad, let me know, and I'll come back. I'm paraphrasing, but those are the texts. Eric recovers from this. But I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's thinking, what the hell was wrong with that sandwich? That something seems weird about that. Anyway, on February 26th of 2022, Kouri gets in touch with Carmen again. And again, there's phone records. So in this time, Carmen gets her 15 to 30 more pills for another $900. Now this is February 26th. On Thursday, March 3rd of 2022, Eric and Kouri are at home. They want to have according to records, they're having a celebratory drink because she's about to close on this house, right? She got the loan. She's about to close on this big mansion. So she wants to have a drink. And according to police, she made 2 Moscow mules and she put fentanyl in his. They drank the drinks and then Eric goes to bed and never wakes up. Now, Kouri's story is that one of her children was having a nightmare, so she went and slept in their room. So she wouldn't have been present if Eric was having any sort of breathing issues or any issues in bed. She returned to their room. She found him unresponsive and she immediately called 911. Now, I covered in an earlier video, no, she didn't. She was on her phone a full 15 minutes doing other stuff, texting, searching, looking up other stuff before dialing 911. Now, the paramedics arrive and they try to revive Eric, but at 5 a.m. he is declared dead. That is on March 4th. Now, on March 5th, Kouri goes and meets with the people that she needs to sign the paperwork to close on that $20,000 mansion, which everyone thinks is a little bit weird because you could have just postponed that. You could just be like, you know, my husband died yesterday, so let me go ahead and postpone this to next week. You can do that, but she chose not to. On March 7th of 2022, Kouri calls a locksmith to come to the house to get into Eric's safe because Eric had a home safe, and it's rumored that there's a lot of cash in his safe. Eric's sister Katie happens to be at the home when this is happening, and according to Katie's story, she questioned, like, why on earth are you calling a locksmith? Call my dad. My dad knows the combination to the safe. Kouri, instead of listening to the sister's advice, punches her in the face and throat. She ends up getting charged with a misdemeanor assault, and she pleads no contest. But then there was specific instruction that she was supposed to follow. I don't know if it was like, you know how courts do that. They're like, you have to go through anger management or something. There was something she was ordered to do by the court, and she failed to do it. So the court came back and found her guilty of misdemeanor assault against her sister-in-law. Fast forward a month, and here's where the really suspicious internet searches start to come in. As of April 16th of 2022, Kouri is searching things like she wants to understand what the high-end women's prisons are in Utah. What happens to deleted text messages? Can the cause of death impact insurance payouts? Can police get data deleted from a phone? And what are the signs you're under federal investigation? You having to Google, am I under federal investigation? Probably means you're under federal investigation. Now, it could be that her anxiety ratchets up because this continues into June. So June 6th, and by the way, it could just be she's curious. Maybe she's just been watching episodes of Law and Order and she has questions. But on June 6th, searching for, can you delete everything from an old phone if you no longer have it? Utah women's prisons. Can cops uncover deleted messages? Can cops force you to take a lie detector test? If someone is poisoned, what goes on the death certificate? How long does it take for life insurance to pay? What is a lethal dose of fentanyl? I love the question about how long does it take life insurance to pay? It will be never, because your husband was smart enough to take you off the policies. Okay, please come back for more.